The new leadership equipment has finally been revealed by the developers, and my fears about it replacing the existing leadership equipment you might have are somewhat alleviated. So stick around in this video for a breakdown of the new leadership equipment and also a peek at the new skills coming to the Ark of Osiris game mode that is going to have Fog of War. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and today's video is sponsored by the makers of Rise of Kingdoms. And previously I communicated a big fear to you about, man, they're releasing new leadership gear, and does that somehow invalidate the leadership gear you might already have? And I think the answer is maybe, but probably not, and we're going to talk about that. So first and foremost, let's start by reviewing the equipment itself, and of course I've got to give the shout out over here to 1093 for preparing this particular single page view of all of this equipment. This information, by the way, is fully available in the 4 different videos that were released officially on Rise of Kingdoms YouTube channels. So thank you again 1093 for the single page view, and let's get started in the upper left with the Scepter of the Glorious Goddess. This is a weapon, 15% troop attack. Now it's all troop types, man. It's also giving march speed for infantry of 3%. Now this is kind of weird because you know that legendary set weapons give more like 20% of stats for one troop type. So this is definitely benefiting all troop types at the cost of being particularly good for any one troop type. Now, we'll talk about this more in just a bit, but this is why this equipment may not actually invalidate investments you've already made into leadership gear. From there, we look at the Plate of the Glorious Goddess. That is the chest piece. 8% defense. Okay, well, I mean, if you use a Hope Cloak, you could get 12% defense, but it's for one troop type. Also, 2% march speed for infantry. I love the march speed for infantry, by the way. Infantry are the slowest troop type in the game. I'll show you that in game in just a little bit, but increasing their march speed, if you have a mixed march on the field, is going to make your whole march go faster, because remember, your march will only go as fast as its slowest unit. So if you bring a mixed march, typically that's infantry, archers, cavalry, and your infantry are what slows down your march. So the infantry march speed makes sense on these pieces, but then it gets a little interesting. Now we've got the leg piece over here, which is giving you 8% health. Okay, 8% health is good, but is it better than the 12% defense you could get on the Eternal Night legs, or, for example, the 12% health on the Ash of the Dawn? I'm not so sure. Now, health is a very good stat, don't get me wrong. This also has march speed for archers, but it's only 8%. Let's continue on. Up in the right, we've got 8% attack on the helmet. Okay, interesting. You could get 10.5%, I believe, maybe 11% on a set helmet. Yeah, I think it's 11%. Maybe even 11.5%. We'll look in game on a set helmet today. So I'd rather have, the defense that you typically get from the infantry set. So 8% attack. All right. I mean, that's fine, but not, backbreaking. And I think the march speed for cavalry does basically nothing, because cavalry would not be the slowest unit in a mixed march. From here, the gauntlets, the gloves, 6% defense compared to the 7.5% you could get today from a set piece. And march speed of siege. I feel like siege march speed, I don't know. If you're wearing this set, are you really bringing siege? I suppose you could make an all siege garrison with this. I suppose that's the one area where, like, this is definitely all better, is if you make a siege garrison, except there might actually even be better siege gear. We'll talk about that too. Then you've got the greaves, the boots. 6% health is actually really good. And even compared to the existing set pieces you have, like the infantry set boots doing 7.5% defense, you might actually prefer these boots. 6% health is really good. March speed of siege is still a head scratcher for me. 2% boost there. And then the set bonuses. 3% defense when you get 2 pieces. We've got 3% skill damage taken reduction when you have 4 pieces, and 5% troop health on 6 pieces. That is really good. The set boosts here are really, really good. But when we compare to what you can do today, infantry gear, for example, looks really, really good. Or if you have a cavalry crit gear for Ark of Osiris, your cavalry crit gear is already probably better. So where is this good is an interesting thing, and we're going to have to see some testing for both mixed marches in the field, which is one scenario where this really matters. For example, if you're using a Trajan march, which the best players are, and I'm not saying that as a knock if you don't have Trajan, it's like a statement of fact of what's meta. Trajan is very good. On the flip side of things, you've also got Heraclius garrisons. And so will this be better than what you can do today for a Heraclius garrison? And the thing that leaves me scratching my head about what is this gear for is actually not the gear, it's the armaments. I mean, as cool as all that gear is, if we look at the armaments I have, for example, as my best set for one troop type for archers, I've got 11.2% archer attack, 5.2 defense, 6.6 health. Now, the all damage would apply to all troop types, okay? Things like robust, cohesive, daring would apply to all troop types. But by focusing on one troop type, you can get somewhere between, let's call it 15 to even as much as, is it maybe 30% plus of stats for one troop type. So even though the inscriptions benefit all troop types in most cases, and the all damage benefits all troop types, on the armaments, there's no stat, really, other than the ones I just mentioned, that are benefiting all troop types. Which means even if you made this set of equipment, don't you still want to focus one troop type based off of the existence and the functionality of armaments? I could be wrong here, and it could just be that in most situations, okay, having the extra versatility of being like, yeah, use whatever armaments has all troop stats on it could be a huge win. I don't know. So my feeling on the equipment is that until we can actually test it, it's going to be very hard to say, like, is it way better or not? But I definitely do not feel as bad about the equipment I have already talented for leadership, because it might actually just be better. And depending on what kind of set you're making, whether it's for field or for garrison, it is still possible that not all of the set pieces are what's the meta. It could be that for this new leadership equipment, the meta is to use some other stuff that we know is really optimal for a single troop type, and then use some amount of stuff from the leadership set, like the boots, that we're giving 6% health compared to the 7.5% defense you get over here. So I will definitely keep you posted once I've done some testing to see, hey, which equipment actually performs better. So if you're getting value from this video so far and you want to see that sort of information as soon as it lands, consider subscribing to the channel and throwing a like on the video. Thank you again for your support. It does mean a lot to me, but we are not done yet. We need to go now and look at the new skills in Ark of Osiris. The new Ark of Osiris game mode is going to have Fog of War, similar to what you would experience in a game like StarCraft, and I think that is awesome. Look, in Ark of Osiris today, you know exactly where your enemy is because you literally can see everything they're doing, which is, I don't know, I like improvisation more, okay? That's more my style of game than just like the purely rote, 100% planned, go here, go there, go here, go there, of Ark of Osiris as it works today. My preference is more need to improvise, and that is what Fog of War brings you. You do not know where your enemy is, but there are things you can do to have a better sense. So let's look at what these new skills are in this new Ark of Osiris mode that has Fog of War. And the first one is really, really interesting. This is like straight up out of a MOBA, like League of Legends. You can place a sentry for 0 cost. This is a 0 cost ability. All it has is a cooldown, which is 300 seconds. So if you actually take this, you're using it all the time. Places a sentry with a visual range of 45 in the selected location, which lasts for 720 seconds. Now remember, the cooldown is 300 seconds. So if you take this ability, you could theoretically get to a point by the end of the match where you have a lot more information going at an ongoing basis. The hidden sentry is invisible to enemy governors, but can be spotted by enemy hidden sentries. So your sentries can see other sentries that belong to the enemy, but otherwise the enemy has no information about whether or not you are getting vision to an area, which is interesting. And it can be attacked and destroyed once it's spotted. Huh. Okay. Very much like a MOBA here. Master Strategy is the next one on the list, and this is a 6 cost ability. It moves up to 30 allied troops within range to the target destination in 20 seconds. So it's got a 20-second warm-up window, but you basically teleport to your location, and upon arrival, the moved troops gain 50% increased attack for 180 seconds. Whoa. So you could do some really cool stuff, maybe, where you like jump the wall of the canyon in Ark of Osiris, right? You're like attacking, for example, I don't know, the Shrine of War, and then boom, you teleport everybody onto the Ark. There's some very interesting stuff you can do with Master Strategy. It's got a 3,600 second cooldown, which is extremely long. So this is a big ability that you've really got to make count if you're going to use it. Now from here, Dust Up decreases the visual range of all enemy troops and occupied structures by 50%, and their damage by 10% for 3 minutes. Man, this is a 600 second cooldown. So a 10-minute cooldown, but for 3 minutes, the enemy deals less damage. And for 2 points, reducing their visibility and making them deal less damage seems like this could be a contender for a new Ark of Osiris mid-brawl skill. From here, Fire Arrows increases the ranged normal attack damage and ranged skill damage dealt of up to 30 allied troops within a certain area by 30%, and their ranged attack range by 20% for 3 minutes. Cooldown, 10 minutes. Wow. You know, this one is so interesting because you wonder like, what if ranged isn't good? Well, the developers could always just make it good by virtue of adding skills that make ranged busted. Does this make ranged combat busted, however, is an interesting question, and I'm not sure it's enough. For 2 points, yes, you get a lot. And compared to other abilities, it is pretty good for the 2 points, but the drawback of needing to be ranged, I just don't know if ranged has a role yet in Ark of Osiris. I'm not convinced that it does. So it's very interesting. For 2 points, it could be something that people take, but I doubt there are even many teams that will be able to capitalize on that for even months down the road. From here, we've got the final skill, which costs 4, and you gain 15 visual range from enemy troops and occupied buildings for 60 seconds. Also increases all allied troops' damage by 20% for 3 minutes. That's the thing that I find really interesting, is the 20% damage boost for 3 minutes makes this a contender for a mid-brawl skill. Yeah, 20% all damage is nuts. Is it better than the other mid-brawl skills we have today? I don't know about that, but 20% all damage is wicked. That I know for sure. And the fact that it lasts for 180 seconds, 3 minutes, with a 900 second cooldown, 15-minute cooldown. This ability looks really, really powerful. Also note, I took this picture from the official Rise of Kingdoms video, which now says, details are subject to the official update in-game. And I think this is a smart play by the developers to kind of CYA around things actually changing between the time that the developers record it for their update video and when it actually shows up in-game. Because on multiple occasions, heroes have been changed. For example, Boudica Prime was changed before she actually made it in-game. So I think what the developers do is they sort of create the hero, they get it to nearly the final form, and then they're still doing the balance testing up until the point where perhaps the hero is actually made public in the game. They could sort of behind the scenes still change the values. So I think that's why they're saying details are subject to the official update in game, because my guess is that some of this stuff is still getting balance tested up until the point where it becomes suddenly visible to us. But enough about my opinion. What are your thoughts about these new skills in the new Ark of Osiris game mode? Again, I think it's really cool for the new Ark of Osiris to have some amount of improvisation required, but let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. And if you're looking for more information about the best equipment in Rise of Kingdoms, outside of this leadership stuff, which is sort of a new question mark, I'll have 2 cards in the end screen, equipment-related videos to help you make the best equipment possible in the game.